Hello, hello. Howdy, howdy. Hello. Trying to give everybody a little time to get on. We're going to keep our fingers crossed so we don't have any major technical difficulties tonight. Okay. So, y'all ready to get started? I know, right? Let's hope. Fingers crossed, toes, whatever you can cross it. So, we read The Heir by Sophie Lark. And I know that, of all the three options I gave, somehow those are all interconnecting. But I don't think it would really keep anybody from reading this by itself. I don't know how that would hold up for the rest of the Kingmaker series, though. Thankfully, at the beginning of the Heir is the kind of the family tree, I guess you'd say, for the three families involved: the Gallo family, the Griffin family, and the Yennon family. So that kind of did help with that when some names were mentioned. I could kind of go back to that and be like, oh, okay, that's that connection. So kind of helped a little bit. Did y'all check out the playlist that she had at the beginning? Anybody else listen to that? I jammed out to it for like a week. Terry, was that a note of the playlist thing? Our book club mascot just came in the door, y'all. What's up, Rip? Hello. She's stretching. Don't knock my stand over. Don't knock my stand over. Alright, so I do that sometimes. I don't always think to do it. I do think it's cool that a lot of authors have put, their inspirational music in the books. I think I actually took the time to listen to it because it all seemed to, I wouldn't say play a major part, but it kind of made sense when I was reading the story, because y'all notice she put the songs as she went. It kind of helped to know how they fit into that particular part of the story. Yeah, I agree, Terry. She did a good job of doing that. So I'm gonna follow kind of sorta. Definitely. It definitely played a big part. Her being a dancer. I agree with that. So I'm gonna kind of follow my tags as we go along. Um I got a little bit of a headache going on, so y'all bear with me. Alright, so the first thing I tagged was Leo's parents, Yelena and Sebastian. Yes. With Yelena finding the Leo's acceptance letter to Kingmakers. You know, so Terry's asking, she says, am I the only one that started to like Dean, but at the end really disliked him? No, you weren't. I mean, I wanted to like him, and there were moments when I sympathized with him, with his family life, but it's just like the more or the further along the book went, the more I really, really disliked him. I He's got the third book in the series, and when I realized that was his book, I was like, oh God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read it. Because I do sometimes find it hard to read a character's book if in a previous book I find myself not liking that character. And it's not that I don't want to give it a chance. I think it's just that maybe I need to come to terms with the fact that, you know, he needs to have a redemption story. Um, and I'm gonna hope that that's what that is for him. So, like I was saying, the explains a lot. Okay, okay. Hmm, that's interesting. I'm glad you said that though, because like I said, I believe I would probably have a difficult time reading it if I already had a bad taste in my mouth because of this fool. But yes, by the end of the Heir, couldn't stand him. All right, so Yelena finds Leo's acceptance letter to Kingmakers, and I don't think we ever find out what all the rules are, but apparently the first two are, well, probably the first one is really the most important, which was the one that said violence against fellow students is not permitted. All violence shall be answered in kind, blow for blow, injury for injury, and death for death. No, who she's talking about, there's a character in the book whose name is Dean. And he was what would we call him? I called him asshat quite a few times, but you know, y'all, and I called him a fucker several times. So I'm not sure what. I guess he would be the villain of the story, really, in this story. Wait a minute. I see what you're asking. Duh. I see where that's coming from. Because that was. Y'all, I have like lapses sometimes. So his name, whenever he used his the name his mother gave him, which was Dean, it was It was Kunst, right? Is that, or am I wrong? Someone clarify, please, because I don't think I have time to dig through the book. Because I do remember seeing something about Dean something, but not always Dean Yennon. So someone help me with that. So anyway, the rule number 1 comes into play almost not really. Because even when Leo and Dean got in the fight, there wasn't really any repercussion. It was broken up, and that's just kind of where it ended. Like when on the boat, at that party. Never mind the rules, y'all. Never mind the rules. So then, hey, those of y'all who read this ebook version, did y'all get the illustrations in the ebook? I thought about that earlier when I was skimming back through, refreshing my memory. Yeah, they don't. And apparently neither do the boat crew. That crossed my mind too, that maybe nothing was really done about it because it was equal parts. So is that a no to the illustrations? Snitches get stitches. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show them to y'all as we go. So I'm trying to find. All right. So this is my next tag is where we meet. Let me make sure. I think this is where we meet Dean. Yes. At his underground fight club thing. All right, so I'll just show them anyway because some of y'all may have and some of y'all may not have, but I'll show them to y'all as I get to them. So Dean, aka Dimitri, is well, that's weird because they. So, like I said, I'm gonna show them because apparently some of y'all got them and some of y'all didn't. So Dean, apparently everybody in Russia knows him as Dimitri, is at his fight club, and you kind of get an interaction, an introduction to his father and how cold he is with Dean. How he's just like whatever with him. And I think in this book, you kind of sort of get a bit of in this chapter, you kind of get a feeling it's because of what happened to him physically, the wife leaving, and that. And I'm trying to remember how long his mother had been gone. 6 years? I think it's at least 6 years since his mother left. Yeah, I think so. So then we get to Anna. Let me back up. I didn't really tag anything in the very first chapter, which was Leo at his ball game. And it's pretty obvious that Leah, see y'all, Leo and Anna are at an age where their feelings for each other are gonna change. You already know this. So that would probably make it okay if he was about 10 when his mom left, that would probably make it closer to what? 8 years, 9 years. If Kingmakers is supposed to be like the mafia version of college. All right, so I tagged a spot here where Anna is talking about, for one, how much like her father she is, and then she makes mention about his tattoos and how many he's added since meeting her mother. You know, I was a little let down myself with Leo because I guess in a way I expected him to be more like Dean, actually. Not the whole, conniving and manipulative part. I think she kept her face made up all the time because they made reference to her always having on dark eye makeup. Yeah, Leo was he was one of those characters that kind of had to grow on you a little bit, I think. And I think it took him and Anna being forced away from each other for him to grow up. So, yeah. By the end of the book, I was definitely Team Leo. But I think for me, for probably the entirety of the book, there were a few times when I had concerns, but for the entirety of the book, I was probably Team Anna, really, because yeah, Leo's evolution, his growth. That's a good way to put that. Yeah, he didn't man up until after he and Anna got back together. But there was on the back the blurb where it says he followed Anna because she's my best friend. I've always been right by her side. She needs me to protect her, especially from Dean Yenin. Can we just say that he didn't do any of that? He didn't protect her from Dean? She did that herself? That's the way I looked at it. That's my opinion. She did that all by herself. Thoughts. Let's hear thoughts. So her tattoos. She says she's got 5. We get descriptions of four of them. A swallow for her mother, a wolf for her father, a quote from her sister's favorite book, and a sprig of aconite for her brother, and a fifth that she has never shown anyone. I had to look up what aconite is. For those of y'all that already know, and for those of y'all who didn't, it's basically wolfsbane. And when I realized that, I was like, yeah, if he's supposed to be a little demon child, then that's probably pretty freaking accurate. She did have to protect him. That is so true. I like that. Sunshine Magic. Anna was definitely a self-rescuing princess. I like that. So the tattoo thing, I made a note. Y'all know I like to make notes so I can remember what the hell I was thinking. Who will be the first to see this tattoo? Leo, ... or Dean? We'll come back to that. Because I've got that tattoo. So here's another part where she's talking about all these like dark feelings that she has. So see, I got a feeling I need to keep. So I'm bouncing. This is the first Sophie Lark book I've ever read, and I wasn't disappointed at all. I feel like I need to read more of her stuff to get used to her writing style, if that makes sense. So I will be reading more of her stuff. Like I said, I've got Brutal Prince and I've got Ivan. I haven't started those yet. And I'm probably going to end up going backwards for her series. If I'm doing the children now and then I go do some of the other stuff that's older, I may already know some things, having read some of the, the children's books first. So, all right. So Anna's talking about these dark feelings that she has and how she kind of feels like she has to keep them bottled up. She said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the feelings that build up inside me. They mess with my head. They make me want to do things I know I'll regret. And I think I tagged that because I was like, oh, is this going to get her in trouble? Is this going to lead her to do some things that she would not normally do? Which I think that being on my mind made me have concerns about some things down the road. Yeah. And so it's almost like we've got a scale between these three anyway. You've got Leo, who is, high school star athlete, very sociable, charismatic. Everybody loves him, wants to be around him. And, he's just that guy, the guy. Then you got Anna, who is in her own way, outgoing, but she's obviously got a lot of bottled up things that she keeps to herself. And maybe she kind of, sort of, throughout their friendship up to this point that they're going off, has kind of lived in his shadow a little bit and been perfectly happy there. And then we've got Dean, who is just a dark character, who no happy family life. He's rough. He's aggressive. He's a fighter. So it's almost like you get different points on the spectrum of the personalities. Yeah. Yeah, that's what that is. I like being able to talk through things with y'all. So I'm looking for my next tag. Oh, where we meet Aries. Can somebody tell me, does Aries get a book? Do we get more? I kind of agree with you, Terry. She didn't at first. Um, I think she too needed to grow a little bit away from Leo. She too needed to grow a little bit away from Leo and face her fears and emotions that she kept bottled up. Like she was afraid of not water, but she was afraid of the scuba diving. Um, but then she ended up having to face that fear to save him later on. Yeah, I think Kaylin probably says it best, Terry. She had definitely had more than Leo. Um, maybe not as much as Dean, but I think Dean's was more of a twisted evil backbone. So, and I'm hoping, speaking about Aries, I'm hoping that we can get. It says here that he was one of the first 10 families, or in one of the first 10 families, and I'm guessing that's the 10 families that founded the school. Yeah, I'm not a fan of scuba diving either. I'm not a huge fan of water or big bodies of water. Um, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out more about Aries. And what was the other dude's name? And I'm probably not going to say his name right. Hedian Gray. I'm curious what happened. What's the backstory on him? Okay, okay. Here we got illustrations. I think this is when they're coming up on the school. So for those of y'all who didn't have this illustration, here we got illustrations. I think this is when they're coming up on the school. So for those of y'all who didn't have this illustration, can y'all see? So that's supposed to be the school. Definitely not summer camp. Oh, the part where they're on the boat and Leo realizes who he's talking to. I'm talking to my cousin. He's calling himself Dimitri, but this is Dean Yen, and I'm sure of it. And where Leo's trying to be, aloof, Dean's having none of it. Yeah, I like Miles too. Cannot wait to read his book. So, and then, yeah, so the crew breaks up the fight on the boat and it doesn't get reported. So, I think, are we kind of all agreeing that because it was actually, a fight where they were both engaged and not just one pummeling the other, that's probably why nothing was done about it? So I tagged something here where Leo was thinking about Anna, and this is after the fight, where he was talking about uh, the thought of going to some school without her, any school, made me sick to my stomach. She's my best friend. We've always done everything together. I know Anna cares about me, but sometimes I think she doesn't need me the same way I need her. She's got siblings and I don't. I would never admit this in a million years, but sometimes I'm jealous of Kara and Whelan. I hate that Anna loves them almost as much as she loves me. I don't want her attention divided between me and them. I know it's ridiculous because they're just kids, but I want to be first in her eyes the way she is in mine, closer than blood. Yeah, they covered it. But I don't think the doctor believed it. I don't think he believed it one bit. So we kind of seeing that Leo and Anna have both been having thoughts about each other that they feel they shouldn't be having because they've been friends for so long. They consider each other family. They call each other's parents uncle and aunt. So I think, as happens in situations like this, especially in books, they're a little weirded out by the feelings that they're starting to recognize and feel about each other. Yeah. So I made a note here about the other Anna. And I was curious at that time, will we get the story of the other Anna? Is this in another book? And there may be more details in another book, but we did get an explanation of who the other Anna is and what happened to her. So there is, talking about the whole family thing. I don't remember if I marked it or not because it just, the way it was explained, it hurt my head. About they're cousins, but not by blood. So somebody's married to somebody, and you know, you know, maybe I marked it. I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember stopping and even going back to the family tree stuff, trying to line it all out. And my head got hurting so bad I had to stop. I was like, never mind. They said not by blood, so we ain't gonna worry about it. All right, so the first time Dean sees Anna, and he has no idea who she is, when she's she's dancing outside, and I think this is in some kind of, it's not the church. Something about a cluster of orange trees surrounding a flat open platform that might once have been used for weapons training. So he just goes all creeper. I think it was something like that too. And do you see why it hurt my head? Do you see why? That still hurts my head. So this is one of them situations where if these people were members of my family, blood or not, my mom could line it out for me. Line it right out and I'd understand it. But that, I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it on my own. So, Dean is like creeper stalking, watching Anna dance. And this is the first time that he sees her. He has no idea who she is. And, so the note I made in reference to that is, it hurt. Because I was concerned about a love triangle thing. Not a fan. Are we looking at a love triangle with these three, or just Dean using Anna to get to Leo? He may develop feelings for her, but his hate for Leo may override anything good. Hey, Rip, Mama didn't know you was still down here. Or down there. So, even in the end, I don't think the feelings that Dean had for Anna were love. I think it was just wanting to have her so Leo couldn't. I really think that's all that boiled down to. And when she didn't choose him, that was just one more thing for Dean to add to the list of reasons to hate Leo. Whereas he thought he was in love, I don't think he really was. I don't. Love. I don't think he really was. I don't. Then again, maybe for him it was. Because it sounds like he didn't know. Then again, maybe for him it was. Because it sounds like he didn't know what love was. Or is. Yeah. Yeah. See, we all agree. That's not, I guess for a lot of, that's not love. Even if you go, speaking book wise, even if you go into a relationship, like a lot of these mafia books do, the man viewing the woman as a possession, it becomes love, or their version of love. This was never that. This was never that. Um, I really think it was all about just having her so Leo could not. And then when he goes to take a shower and he ends up in the wrong locker room and he collides with someone while they are both up in the wrong locker room and he collides with someone while they are both naked as the day they were born, and you know automatically who it is that he runs into. And my note said this is both funny and horrifying at the same time, and of course it's Anna. It's like, wow. So, and I have to pause and ask myself, I can understand how she would not know what he looks like because there wouldn't have been any pictures of him in Leo's home. But did she not see him on the boat? Did she not see him on the boat? Oh, no, she didn't because she wasn't where she could. Because she didn't even know the fight had happened until Leo got back to the hammock. I had to work through it, y'all. I've not had any... I think... Okay, the question is, do y'all think Anna was just going along with Dean out of spite, or that she was actually interested? I think she was so hurt by what happened with Leo that Dean was saying and doing the right things. And I think she may have been using him in her own way to try to distract herself from Leo, or the hopes that being with Dean could help her get over Leo. Yeah. Like I said, I think she was using him for her personal reasons, which I guess Dean was using her for the same reasons. But yeah, I think she was just trying to use Dean as a distraction. So here, so here, I made another note. I sort of already don't like Dean. However, I have no clue right now what's going to happen in this story. So even right then, I still had a little bit of hope that things. I didn't want her to be with Dean, but I didn't want him to be hurt at this point. At this point in the story. I agree with that. I think I think he wanted to care for her, but he could never get past her and Leo. She wouldn't let him, even though she wanted to get over Leo, or thought she did, she still kept the kind of a wall up that he couldn't get past. And every time he thought he was gaining ground, something would happen and he would lose it. So here's another illustration. And this is Anna. I got to sit up so I can make sure y'all are seeing this. So these aren't signed. So I'm wondering if Sophie did these herself. So I got lost in thought looking at the picture. Yeah, you say grooming, and I kind of agree with that. Like he... Yeah, like maybe he felt like if he could control her physically and mentally and emotionally, then yeah, she'd have been all his. But thank the good Lord, she was stronger than all that. So this is where we get the other Anna story. She had been attacked and raped by 3 Brothers too. And I'm probably not saying these words right, y'all. While walking home. And yeah, that was like so. And I'm sure there's probably more about that in her father's book, which I'm assuming he has a book of his own. Um, I know, but then again, you got to kind of think about the line of work this man is in, and he may have been telling her this as kind of like a cautionary tale. Um, yeah, she was 6. She said she was 6 or 7 at the time. And yeah, and I honestly think that he told her that as a cautionary tale because it was pretty obvious, even at her young age, that she intended to take over for him. So the brutal prince is Anna's parents. So as far as the spice goes in this book, I kind of just tried to tag some locations where there seemed to be just a physical response to something that was, going on between um Anna and Leo. And I can totally understand where she's coming from. As he apparently they're in the lunchroom, cafeteria, whatever, and he's just kind of like leaned back in the chair, all you know. And it says, as he spears a sausage with his fork, his forearm flexes, and I feel strangely warm. Something about them forearms, y'all. Okay. I got it right here. Callum. I'm going back to family tree. Y'all hold on. Okay. Callum is Miles' father. So Brutal Prince is about Miles' parents. So where is I could never figure out how to say Anna's dad's name. And I know they just called him Miko, but it's Mikolaj? Something like that. So anyway, the forearm thing. And I was like, girl, me too. Me too. And then on over on the next page, she says, after all this time, I don't understand what's changed. Something has. All of a sudden, I feel a tension that was never there before. Girl, that's called lust. That's what that is. And then a little, like 2 paragraphs down, she gets off in the weeds with it, talking about, because whatever happens, I can't risk my friendship with Leo. Nothing is more important to me. My friendship with Leo. Nothing is more important to me. Okay. Close enough. Yeah, it's somebody. It's one of them. Oh yeah, I can't believe I didn't mark this. When she ends up having to tell Leo that she literally bumped into Dean. So yeah, that was fun. That really didn't go very far because I mean they were in class. Flipping, flipping. So the next spicy thing I marked was Leo's dream. We never find out if Aries actually heard him when he woke up in the midst of things. And that might be good. That might be good that Aries never was like, hey man, heard what you did. But that was pretty funny. That was funny. But when I was reading this, I was like, wait a minute. How did I miss so much? What happened? How did we get here? And then it's a drink. I think I know what you're talking about. Uh, the whole pretend I'm him. Is that what you're talking about? I had stopped rooting for him by that point. But yeah, I was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. So I found myself, a lot of times like in situations like this, you have, like your two main characters or male characters. You got one saying things like, I want to be the best. I want this. I want that. And then you got another one saying the same exact things. For me, with Leo and Dean, if they were having the same thoughts about something, I was okay with Leo having these thoughts. But if Dean was having these thoughts, I was like, no, no. I did too for a minute. And I even made a note about it. I was like, girl, don't you do it. Don't do it. But yeah, when they could be having the same exact thoughts, and because I already have bad feelings about Dean, I'm just like, no, no. So I'm gonna kind of skip ahead. Oh, and then when he made that comment about, I gotta go back to that. When Dean says, let me pull this up a second. I've seen girls looking at me, even some of the female students in the years above me, but I'm not interested in any of them. I want the best or nothing at all. Anna is the best. No, don't you do it. And then I had the brief thought, what if Anna got captain? I had kind of hoped. I had kind of hoped that he would come around. I really did. But there was also, I believe, the point where Dean, he was talking to Bram and some other dude, and this is probably not verbatim, but he says, "Oh, he's not going to survive the challenge." I gave up hope then. I was like, "Yeah, done, done, done." So, yeah. But yeah, I had the brief thought and a sparkling of hope that Anna might get captain and just nix that whole problem. And this is where Anna notices the scars on Gideon's back. Yeah. So we never get any kind of inkling about that. But that may also lead into why Anna saw him going somewhere around the spy's dorm, I think it was. Yeah, that crossed my mind, but it would have served them both right if she did. And if I were her, well, no, I'm not going to say I would have kept it, but. And of course, the obvious thing of Dean and Anna getting teamed up for a class project, which is really where he started worming his way in. My note says, this makes me want to fall out on the floor. This whole exchange, whether intentional or not, he's gaining her sympathy, even if it's disguised as curiosity. So I think that was like their first conversation, I think in the library. Yeah, I'm curious about Gideon's backstory for real. So here's where I made another where Leo's talking about Anna's tattoos. And I said, I've got a feeling the fifth tattoo is going to be something that blows Leo's mind. I'm hoping it's his tattoo. Then we get the team captain announcements. There was, maybe it was earlier in the book, and maybe I just missed it. But there was a student here that had the same last name of the guy who who took in basically Anna's dad. Karjak, I think was the last name. So yeah, I found that interesting. But there was no interaction between her and that dude, so maybe she never mentioned the dude in her thoughts. So made another note here, and this is back where Bram tells Dean that Leo got the captain position. And my note says, every time I hope for some redeeming quality for Dean, he goes all dark side. And I guess it bothers me that he's got so much rage toward Leo when none of them were alive when this stuff happened between Leo's mom and his dad. Or just the grandparents, the whole thing. None of them were alive. And I guess you got to have somebody to blame when stuff like that happens. But he's putting it in the wrong place. You nut. Okay, so here's where... Ow. I also... Let me make sure I'm talking about the... This is still Dean, and he's talking about Anna. I'm having concerns about how far he's going to go with this newfound obsession. I hope Anna doesn't fall even a little for Dean. And then I was like, what I'm currently struggling with is that Dean is giving off all the vibes that would normally have me rooting for him. Yeah, I think if it's almost like the whole domino effect. What happened to his father led to all the things that happened with his mother. And if she had been able to, and I don't even think it was really her responsibility, because it sounded to me like even through Dean's side of things that she tried to be there for her husband, but he would not let her, which led to, her drinking and then eventually her leaving. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, normally in these mafia type books, a guy presenting these qualities like Dean is, the whole, possessive attitude, I would normally be, that's the guy I'd be rooting for. I'd be like, hey, let's go get the girl, man. Let's go. But now I'm like, dude, this is not working. This is not working. I'm not feeling this. I agree. And I think it started with his dad. Once that happened to him, he completely shut down on her. Yeah, a good bad boy. Not just a straight up bad boy. Oh, Lord. And then this is where stuff starts getting really interesting at the, what is this? The little beach party? And Bram gives, Dean the roofie. My note says, no, no, no to all of this. Oh, I crack myself up sometimes. And then, Lord Jesus, what he decides to actually do with it. Ugh. Oh, and then when he knocked over the speaker and kicked sand over it, what was the point of that? And I was like, my note says childish much? I mean, that was pretty childish. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. A bad boy like Miles. Because you can tell Miles has a good heart. But he's still a bad boy. And that's how we like our bad boys. We need bad boys with a good heart. Because it's almost like even if they think they have no heart or no soul or whatever, we're all just like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. But not in this case. Even though I was hoping. So the moment where Anna starts to tell Leo how she feels and they get interrupted. Excuse me, ma'am, what you doing? Excuse me, what are you doing? Hello, you want to say hello to everyone? You want to say hello? Do you want to say hello? Do you want to say hello? Look who's here, y'all. Hello. Hello. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you. Get down. Get down. No, you gotta get out. No, your foot's in my gut. You better get your butt down. Get down. Get down. Get down. All right. Go find Daddy. Go find Daddy. Get down. Get down. Yo, excuse me. Go before you knock everything over. Go. Get. Go. Go. Y'all, hang on a second. Hey, out. Come on. Out. You done got riled up. You gonna knock everything over. Yes, you will. Go find Daddy. Y'all, trust me, that child is not neglected. At all. Ugh. She thought it was playtime. So anywho, she's at the door. Okay. So the moment where she is trying to tell him, they get interrupted, and he tells her, I want to finish this conversation later. And then as I read on as to what happened, I came back and put a note that says, I got a feeling after what happened with Gemma and the roofie situation, she may not want to tell him anything. And we all know how that night ended. And then we have the moment where she's actually seeing what's going on. And then bless Leo's heart. He thought it was Anna. But then whenever he realizes that it's not, I was like, the damage is already done. The damage is already done. And then whenever he tries to talk to Anna about it, bless his heart, he just messed the whole conversation up. He could not get it headed in the right direction. So then we have the moment where Anna, after witnessing that with Leo and Gemma, Anna goes to I think it's the chapel. No, the cathedral is what they're calling it. She goes in there, and of course, Dean followed her. And he's basically there when she has her breakdown. Yes, it was very frustrating. And I got so mad. I was like, you asshole, you broke her heart, and now you want to reap the benefits. Ugh. So, yeah. I'm really starting to have bad feelings about him. And then, the conversation that Leo tries to have with Anna. And then my note is just basically unfucking believable. Yeah. And I kind of felt like it's great. At this point, Leo, I don't think he ever found out that he had been roofied. Because even Dean never told Anna. He never admitted to doing anything like that. But it was I forget the chick's name. But the Irish girl that that told her when they were on the boat ride leaving months down the road. And then whenever Dean finally convinces Anna to go on a date with him, oh, that's right, because after the girl tells Anna, she does tell him because he had to hold her back from going after Dean. Okay, so then we get into the time where I have lots of concerns about Anna. I'm really starting to hate Dean. And I am feeling really bad for Leo because he is not doing well. And I don't think Anna is either, because I think even though she's hanging out with Dean, her not being around Leo really starts affecting her emotionally and physically and mentally. So, there start to be physical signs of their separation. And you try to hold out hope to the end. um then we get into all the things Dean does to learn things about Anna. Breaking into her room, going through her stuff. Yeah. Bless your little heart. We're gonna say that his relationship with Anna was not meant to be. There was someone out there made just for him. We're gonna keep up hope. We're going to keep up hope. Because whenever he meets this person, and I ain't read this book, but Christine, I believe, has or is in the process, she going to turn that man's world around. You watch what I'm saying. Oh, I don't know if y'all going to be able to read this. This is... Wait. Basically, when she tells Dean that she's a virgin, the first date, I'm just going to read it to y'all because it's a lot of words. I said, then he said what he said. Nope. Anna, I swear for God, if you hand this boy your V card, I'm throwing this book. The book is undamaged, if that tells y'all anything. So, and then when Leo has to hold up his end of the bet, going into the cafeteria stark naked, and how he handled it so well, as we all knew he would, and it just got all off with Dean. It just, upset him even more. We take our victories where we can, people. Because right now, at this point in the book, I'm like, whatever Leo can do to piss Dean off, even if he doesn't realize he's doing it, let's do it. Let's do it. I laughed my ass off at that part right there. So, at this point, we also have another illustration, and this is Leo. All right, then we go through, and I'm just realizing, wait, let me back up. This is where we meet Zoe. And bless her heart, y'all. I am going to read the next book simply because love Miles. And after meeting Zoe and getting to know her just a little bit, that's going to be a good book. That's going to be a good book. So I was kind of curious about the librarian. What was her name? Miss Robin. Who we find out is the Chancellor's niece. I was kind of curious. I feel like there's a story there, y'all. I feel like there's a story there. And I really would have liked, and maybe we'll get it in another book, or maybe it's been in a previous book, a little, story about the Chancellor, how he ended up doing this job. Yeah, is it like a family position? Is this something his family started? Obviously, he was one of the 10 founding families. Okay. I would love for her to get a book. Because I feel like she's that rose waiting to bloom, maybe. All right, so we have a scene here, that scene where Dean's got Anna up against the wall, hand down her pants. I was like, oh my God, no! I told y'all I called him that quite a lot. So, and then I had another note. Will Leo walk in on Dean trying to force Anna to have sex, like with this situation, how he's not even listening or realizing she's trying to say no? So Miss Robin has a role to play. Interesting. Or maybe a new teacher shows up. Or maybe the school gets attacked and they have to bring in security. Or maybe somebody moves into the village. So many possibilities. So many possibilities. And then I made a note about Leo. You know, he's doing some thinking. He says, I thought of myself as the star of the show, and honestly, Aries was a sidekick. I hadn't really considered him as a person with struggles as acute or complex as my own. The same was true with Anna. I made assumptions about her feelings and her goals. I wasn't careful to find out what she really wanted. I took her for granted. So it's almost like this is the point where he starts shifting his perspective of how he treats people. And I made a note. While I realized this was a wake-up call for him, probably much needed, it's still breaking my heart. So yeah, that was like the self-realizing moment for him. And I'm not really sure how far this is past his and Anna's breakup that he makes this realization. So when Leo calls home and gets the news about that was funny. I was just reading that line before I flipped the page. So when Leo calls home and finds out that his mother is pregnant, I was momentarily, for just like a split second, concerned that, okay, maybe a month, maybe, okay. I was concerned that he was not going to take the news very well. And I think for a moment he was in shock. And I was really happy that he was happy. That, you know, and he had mentioned it, I think in a later conversation, well, whenever he tells Anna about it, you know, he's like, no, I'm really, really happy. And then, of course, I marked the spot where Leo sees that Anna is still wearing the necklace he gave her all those years ago. I think that's where they're outside in the rain or in the cold doing target practice or something. Yeah. He says, I see a familiar glint of gold on her neck, the superfine chain with the tiny moon pendant I gave her so long ago when we were only kids. She's still wearing it. I was so happy. And then that moment when Dean sees them coming out and realizes that she's wearing Leo's sweatshirt, jacket, whatever. And he says, Anna has taken the soul out of me. She's holding it tight in those slim, pale hands. It's time for me to take something from her. My note says, what the actual fuck does that mean? You better not try something physical, and you damn well better not break that necklace. Y'all see where my main point of concern was. Don't you break that necklace. I think she could have, I'm not saying she could have fended him off, but I think she probably could have done enough damage that he would not be able to hide what he did. Yeah. And I don't think she would have not said anything. I don't see her at this point in the story. I didn't see her as a type of person who would not say something if she were physically attacked. So then Anna makes a comment. I think she's back in her room. And she says, my attraction to Leo is a supernatural force. Then, girl, you best to heed it. Oh, here's that moment we were talking about. And I think the only reason she went to see Dean is because she felt like he didn't leave her a choice. What was it he said to her? Let me flip back a couple pages, y'all. Yeah. He says, I need to see you tonight. Anna says, I've got homework. He says, I need to see you. And in his thoughts, he's like, it's not a request. So she felt like she really didn't have a choice. And I think her intention was, if I'm not mistaken, her intention when she went was to tell him she didn't want to see him anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I never saw her as a victim. Even in her quieter days. So, okay, so this is the moment, and I believe are they in the cathedral? Oh no, it's just it's a squat stone hut. So romantic. And she says, I know what it means that Dean ordered me to meet him here. So once again, like he did to her when he had her up against the wall, one of those dubcon situations, he's doing that to her again. Except this time it's not working so well for him. And when he realizes what the issue is, that's when he says to her, pretend I'm him. My note says, for the love of God, please don't do this. And then we flip the page. And it's like, for just a split second, she considers it. And I'm just like, I want to close my eyes and pray, but I had to keep reading. And she says, I smell the clean scent of his skin. It's fresh and pleasant, but it isn't Leo. I jump off of him as if I've been electrocuted. I run for the door. Dean calls for me to wait. I don't wait, not for a second. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all, she had me concerned. She had me concerned when she leaned back down to him. All right, so moving ahead. And then Dean is still on. Yeah, just a little creepy. And Dean is still trying to figure out how to keep Anna from Leo. Trying to figure out how to prove to her that he's the better man. So, at the second challenge, which was where Leo really showed how much he changed. As in, oh, bye, have a good night at work. Be careful. This is where Leo really kind of shows that he's changed. I think he realized that him being Leo Gallo, everybody was going to expect him to, I guess you should say, take the ball and run with it. And that's what everybody thought. All eyes were on Leo. Only to find out later on, while Dean is only half-assing his part of the whole strategy plan, Ares has the bomb and is hauling ass in the other direction with it. Go team. Exactly. He let somebody else take it. And I'm kind of glad that not everybody knew what he had planned, because if Dean had found out, it wouldn't have worked. So, he'd have found some way to nip it in the bud. So this was Anna's thoughts on that. She says, Leo has changed. I didn't realize it in the heat of the competition, but thinking on it now, that was very unlike him to pass the bomb to Ares and to trust him to take it all the way to the end while Leo provided the diversion. Leo did what he had to for the good of the team, not caring if it was Ares who got the lion's share of the glory. Leo took an absolute beating, and I know it wasn't just to win, for his own benefit. He did what he had to do to be the leader we all needed. He wouldn't have done that a year ago. I wonder if he sees the change in himself. Yes. And then, who is this? I've got to see whose chapter we're still in. Still in Anna's chapter. Okay. So, she's saying, the night of that other party when we walked down the path to Moon Beach, all I wanted was for Leo to kiss me. I wanted to see if the thing I'd been feeling could take physical form. I wanted to see if the attraction I was imagining would spark into life if his lips met mine. Now, I want something much different than that. I think of the trust, the companionship, and the connection we had. I want all of that as love, not just friendship. I'm just like, girl, get off your rump. Go get it. You are a go-getter. Go get it. And then we still, the whole Dean thing still going on. When she told Dean a few days after his disastrous attempt to fuck me, he cornered me outside my dorm and I told him it was over. He narrowed his eyes at me and said, "No, it isn't." "That's not up to you," I said. "I don't want to see you anymore." He stared at me, not answering. Then at last he said, "We'll see about that." He's special. He's real special. When Shay is flirting with Aries, that was pretty funny too. So when there's the moment of reconciliation for Leo and Anna, and y'all, that made me so happy. It really did. It made me this happy. So happy. Um and then a split second later, he can't take a hint. He just can't take it. Okay, so this is the part where they get in the fight. The sure enough fight. And of course, while I had hoped, and Leo was kind of holding his own there for a little while. But there again, he did as Anna asked, and he stopped fighting, whereas Dean did not. And now this is kind of like, Dean is starting to really go off the deep end. He is, I would say, getting murderous. He's getting murderous. And he tells, who is the third dude he's talking to? Valen. So when Bram says he's not winning the last challenge, and Dean says he's not surviving the last challenge. So Dean, Bram, and Valen conspire against Leo. And then we have the moment we've all been dying for the entirety of the book. And Leo had to be like practically beat senseless for this to happen. And I thought it was sweet that they both still had the V cards. I thought that was really sweet. Okay, so this is the thing. Talking about Hedian. Hedian. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. Hedian. He is. Anna sees him descending down into the undercroft where the spies have their dorms. I'm sure it's him because he's wearing the same shirt that was torn in the fight. Torn in the fight. So what is up with Hedian? What is up with the scars and the whole why are you around the spies? I forget which division he was supposed to be in. Was he an Heir? Hedian, I think he was. I think Hedian was the Heir. So why is he over at the spy dorm? What's he spying on? Alright, so of course I marked all the spiciness that happened in the doctor's office. And then whenever she says, it hits me at the exact same moment. I'm about to have something I never thought I could have. Leo and I are about to experience sex for the first time together. Isn't that just the sweetest? And then, from there on, it's like nonstop spice in the classroom, out in the woodshed. Lord have mercy. So, yeah, I remember that because I guess it was kind of one of those things where since Silas is an enforcer, maybe he didn't feel like Silas had the temperament to be the heir. That's right. They were both adopted. Hope we get a book because I need to know what's happening. I need to know what's happening right there. This is, even after all the crap he's done, y'all, I do feel a little sympathy for Dean with how his life has been so far. However, his decisions are taking him down a very dark path, way darker than necessary. I think at this point in the story, I'm like, quit hiding behind that. You don't have to do the things you're doing because this stuff happened. However, it's going to take somebody else to tell him these things. Okay, there's the classroom. There's the classroom scene. And this is where he sees the tattoo, and it is his tattoo. I was so happy to see this. Let me find it. Where he says, "What's this one? You never showed me this." She says, "I know." He says, "Why not? What does it mean?" And she says, "It's Leo, the lion. I got it last year when I thought you might not be coming to Kingmakers with me, so I'd have you with me either way." You guys, stop it. All right, so here's the thing. When Dean, he was following, I forget what the teacher's name was, but it was the dude that was like the ex-Marine or mercenary or whatever he was. And how did this fool not know that he was being followed? You're not very good at your job if you can't tell that somebody's following you. I'm just saying. So, I had some thoughts, and I did come across my answer further into the book. Whenever Dean was making these plans for how Leo was not going to survive the last challenge, I was like, how, if he messes with the tanks, what if Anna is the one that has to do something with them? I mean, it was one of those things, well, how do you know who's going to be where, who's going to have to do what? You don't even know what the challenge is. But I guess, since he followed the professor, I guess he knew the places and the accessories that were going to be involved. But I was still a little concerned about, how do you know who's doing what? And then we get the little blip part where he's got the other two guys, Bram and Balin, stationed at other two spots, which I'm thinking that he thought of the 6 challenges, these would be the 3 that Leo would most likely take. So, there was that. And then that's the part where Anna has to face her fear of the water and the scuba diving whenever she sees I don't think she sees. Okay, I got to find that part. I got to find it. I know she sees somebody, but right now I can't remember if it's actually Dean she sees come out, or if was the other dude that was doing the challenge. It was Dean. I found it. That really freaked me out too, because that's like several things all at once that I'm not a fan of. I mean, if we were like talking like big open caverns and I could see like, the outside still, I could probably walk in there. Don't ask me to swim in there. Damn sure don't ask me to go up under the water, because that is not finna happen. But yeah, so she sees Dean coming out. So she gets her piece of the puzzle, and she's, instead of running off to meet up with the rest of the team, she's hauling ass back to the edge of the cliff. And I was all like, yes, girl, yes. So, skimming forward fast, we get Leo out, and we're trying to get the puzzle put together. When we get the puzzle put together, we stare at the golden skull, and Hedion's like, what does that mean? And I believe it's Leo that realizes they need to. Yeah, I saw that. It was Leo that realized where they had to go once they got the puzzle put together. So, Luther Hugo. I couldn't remember the Chancellor's name. And he says, well, Do my eyes deceive me, or am I looking at the freshman? And Leo takes the heavy gold skull and presses it into his hand. I wasn't like literally up doing this. I was sitting down, but I did do a little happy dance. I danced a jig while I was sitting on my couch. Alright, so this, I believe, is the last illustration in the book. And this is Dean. What do you mean thought it was Anna? Let me back up because I could be wrong. I could certainly be wrong. Because I was flipping fast right through there. Alright. Flipping. Alright, so after the freshmen win, we get Dean's chapter where he's just finally like, I give up. It's time for me to... I was wrong in thinking that there are good and evil people in the world. There is no good and evil. There's only the people blessed or cursed by fate. Fate smiles on Leo. It gives him everything he wants. I killed him. I know I did. And yet somehow he was saved. I loved Anna. She loved Leo instead. If all I can be is brutal, vicious, cruel, if that's what I'm meant to be, then I'll be the most brutal, the most vicious, the most cruel. Why you gotta be like that? Let me back up. Let me double check because I don't want to be wrong about that. I'm close. Now that was in Leo's chapter because it said a split-second whirl of images whips through my brain. The chancellor, the banners, the announcement of the quarterbellum. The keep, I hiss, careful not to call it out. The grand hall. So that's Leo saying that. So when they finally tell the parents, and Leo is apparently rightly concerned for his life, because Miko sounds like he does not play. Shannon is the girl's name that tells Anna about her suspicion that the drink was roofied. She said, I must look crazed because right as I spot Dean on the opposite end of the ship and I start rushing forward to confront him, Leo steps in front of me, grabbing me by my shoulders. Where do you think you're going? To stab that motherfucker. I was like, let her go. Just let her go. Let's be done with it. And yes, that's where Anna ends up telling him. Yeah, Anna tells him that he was drugged. And then the scene at the breakfast table. Oh my gosh, bless his heart. I can only imagine, which he handled it very well by spilling his beverage in his lap. That was funny though. And her punishment was quite interesting. And I believe that was indeed out in, I don't know if it was a wood, it was a shed of some sort, because he was splitting wood. So yes. Just right over the top of her head. Oh, okay, y'all. So that got us to the end. And like I said, this was the first Sophie Lark book that I have read, and I did enjoy it. I need to get used to her writing style. Of course, that's going to mean that I'm going to have to read some more of her books. So, you know, the sacrifices we make. So I have no idea what we're going to do for May yet. And thanks to doing this a week earlier than normal, I got a little extra time to think about that. If y'all have any ideas, suggestions, let me know. It'll probably be, I don't have a calendar. I'll have to look at a calendar. But I'll probably, hopefully, be able to put an options post up the last weekend of May. Not the last weekend of May, the last weekend of April for our May book club. Well, y'all, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. This has been another long book club, and I just looked at the time and I did not realize it had been that long. Yes, I started Scarred and I need to get back to it. I paused it probably so I could read something for book club, and I never went back to it. That is an option. We can definitely consider that. Because I think everybody that read Hooked and I believe that was October's book. I think we all loved it. So, Scarred could be an option. But anywho, y'all just, message me, whatever. Tag me in any posts that you see that might be worth looking into. I have had a thoroughly good time. Yeah. So we'll see y'all in the comments and next month's book club.